On average, the black dollar circulates for about 6 hours in the black community. We need to do better as a community to support black-owned businesses, but that's sometimes easier said than done. Before we can support black-owned businesses, we need a readily available economic search engine to be able to find those black businesses to support in our communities. The Essential Black Business app is the answer to that question. The EBA is always on the community side, meeting the community's needs with easy access.
So I have this man from, South Africa that's calling out his people because his people feels that ever since black people took over in South Africa, that everything has been messed up, but he got a message for them that's actually accurate. Let's roll that.
Hey, all right, white South Africans, this is for you. Don't have to go after this commenter. I just picked it arbitrarily out of the hundreds of comments from white South Africans that reflect this sort of sentiment. And for any of you outside of South Africa, I hope you know when they say they mean black people. Okay, the idea basically is that white people built this amazing country, handed it over to black people in 1994, and they've f***ed up ever since. The level of cognitive dissonance and ignorance in this is just mind-boggling, but I need to talk to you guys who are trotting out this from a racist point of view. Firstly, whites did not build South Africa. South Africa was built on the back of cheap and slave black persons' labor. Do you think any economic viability would have existed in South Africa without black persons' labor, who dug the stuff out of the ground, who built the railroads, who created the infrastructure, who worked the farms? All of these things were done on the back of unpaid or low paid labor from black people that would not, if it didn't exist, have created any kind of economic viability at all. So we have to realize that the white people didn't build South Africa. Black people built it under the direction of colonialists. And we, as white South Africans, inherited the wealth and privilege and advantage of that labor. Okay, and the idea is that our white government was doing this amazing job of creating this wonderland of a country of ours, okay? But what we don't see is the fact that that was built on the oppression of the majority of people. So when a black majority government was elected in 1994, all these white South Africans are waiting with bated breath from anything between, oh, we're all gonna get slaughtered now, through to, I bet these guys will f*** up, because they're so caught up in their racist that they can't see that running a country for everyone in the country is very, very, very different.
I've said this many times before. If you in South Africa that have an issue, we talking about the white folks, if you take an issue with black people, the way they run the country, or you just don't even like black people, well, your ancestors is in the Netherlands. That's your homeland. Why don't you go to O.R. Tambo Airport, International Airport in Johannesburg, and get on a plane and go over there? Or if you're in Cape Town, you can go to Cape Town International Airport and fly to the Netherlands, and where the country is ran by people of your, group. I don't see what's the issue and problem. Why would you live in a country that you don't like to be in? And this man told you, because he's 100% accurate, black people built South Africa. And like he said, they built it, and then white folks inherited the wealth. No different than here in America. Black people built it, white folks inherited the wealth. They inherited an unearned privilege. You understand what I'm saying? This is why I told y'all is that I clicked so well with black South Africans, because we literally have the same story. When I went to the Hector Peterson Museum and I got to see exactly what they were dealing with in that time, it was no different than what we're dealing with right here in America. I mean, the uneven, distribution of wealth in South Africa is sad to see. It is sad. Because yes, they got the government, but they didn't get the wealth. That's why people like Julius Malema always talking about the wealth and the land. They got to have that in order for them to truly take over, because you can have the government, but you don't have the land, you don't have the wealth, you have nothing. And you got brothers and sisters in South Africa who are struggling and things like that. Sometimes, you see a lot of businesses are owned by them folks. Now, some black people, some will say, well, that's what they don't like about South Africa because of that dynamic. But that doesn't bother me, because first and foremost, in America, you live in that dynamic times 1,000. That's number one. Two, if they really want to do something about it, they could. And the reason why I say they could is because they have the numbers. They outnumber them. A new president come in, people in parliament can come in and put in laws and distribute their wealth the way it's supposed to be. Things can happen, and I think things will happen with these young people in South Africa. I've been there. I know some change is going to come down the line. It's going to come. I mean, this is a country that's about 25 years or so, just rebranded into what they are today. When you got countries like America over 200 years old, South Africa is doing so well that everybody throughout the continent want to come to South Africa, want to live there, want to get jobs, want to have a life there. I see why. They want to come there based off of, me going last, March. I love South Africa. It was awesome. People try to talk down on South Africa, crime. Like, man, I live in Houston. You know how much crime is in Houston? Please, like anybody from America that be talking, that try to talk about any African country with crime, like I said, please. I think the other day they had a ring of people that got busted, the model minorities, actually, Vietnamese, with a catalytic converter theft ring. People getting the catalytic converter stolen. They go inside of a restaurant or a bar, come back out, the catalytic converter stole. They hit a whole parking lot of cars. They just stealing these things off of them. You know what I'm saying? It's like we talking about the gun violence. You don't hear about freaking what happened in Uvalde happening in South Africa. Why do you think I went on Newsroom Africa and they asking me about it? Because they don't deal with that. So whatever South Africa is, no country is perfect. None is perfect. None. Not even the one I'm living in. It's definitely not perfect. But South Africa isn't bad as what, as horrible as what everybody say it is. I know everything got, could be better. But hey, every country has room to grow. But yeah, y'all complaining so much. Because this is the thing. I know y'all. I'm talking about these white supremacists. I know you. You can't stand living under black people. You do not like that black people is in government. You don't like that black people is telling you what to do. You can't stand that because in your mind, it's out of order. It's supposed to be you telling black people what to do. I get it. But like I said, I believe the South African government should pay for y'all flights over there to Amsterdam. And then y'all gonna make a new life over there. But the crazy part about it, y'all, is that the people in Amsterdam, they don't want them either. They don't want them there. I had a lady told me years ago about that, how we don't want them here. I need to go back and get that email and maybe read it on my podcast one day in its entirety, where that lady told me how they don't want them. And they don't want to leave either, because the one guy that was driving us around, he was an older white gentleman. He said, never want to leave this place. So they don't want to leave. Okay, if you don't want to leave, then you need to understand it's going to be black run. It's just that simple. Get with the program. Black folks had to deal with y'all with apartheid forever in South Africa. And like I said, shout out to my South African brothers and sisters. Shout out to y'all. I love y'all dearly. Y'all treated me, definitely, like a brother, a long lost cousin. And I greatly appreciate that, when I went out there. There's also, shout out to the real South Africa as well. Mark and Dr. Latasha Blanton, for facilitating, that trip and things like that. We really enjoyed our time out there. If I wasn't going to Kenya, which I can't wait to go to Kenya in November. Can't wait. If I wasn't going to Kenya in November, I would be going back to South Africa. But trust me, I'm probably going to be hitting South Africa a few times next year to try to take care of some business. But yeah, don't worry about them folks, brothers and sisters out there. Y'all live y'all life and make South Africa the country you always wanted it to be. But y'all let me know in the comments y'all think about, what this, white man is saying, to his own people. He's right in everything that he's saying. He's saying black people built South Africa. Yes, they did. And they're going to continue to build South Africa and make it greater than what it is now. Colonization never ended in the white supremacist system. And as we see today, the colonization is in the mind. Now, those who have been enslaved and those who have been colonized, we're still dealing with the remnants of that through the colonization of the mind. Pick up my book, 7 Steps to Decolonize the Mind, and we will help deprogram you from the colonization that was put upon you by generations and generations of white supremacy. You can pick it up today on Amazon.com.